Hi, everybody. I'm glad you're joining us today, and we have some guests that are going to tell us all about assistive devices and techniques that we can use with the people that we're providing care for and that we may need for ourselves at one day. So I'm really happy to have Jason with us today, Jason Julian and Ashley King, and really looking forward to having you share what ATRC is all about and give us a little history and even look into the future and let us know. So I'm going to let you just take it, Jason, and take it where you can.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you very much, Gary, for inviting us. Again, my name is Jason Julian. I'm the Assistive Technology Specialist here at Assistive Technology Resource Centers of Hawaii. Very long name. We go by ATRC for short. I'll go ahead and share my screen here, and I have a couple of slides that will kind of better describe more in depth here. Let's see. All right. Can everyone see my slides? Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So, before I go into what is assistive technology, a little bit of background on us. So we are a nonprofit organization. We don't sell any of these devices that I'll be talking about. We're not a store. We are every state, I should say, in the U.S. has to have their own AT program. So we're here for the state of Hawaii, all islands, even all territories really all have their own program as well. Um, so again, we've been around for about 30 plus years, and what constitutes as assistive technology, this is the legal term for it, is any item, piece of equipment, software program, or product system that is used to increase, maintain, improve functional capabilities of people with disabilities. It can be low, medium, or high tech. So this kind of is kind of wordy, kind of general and vague, which is to our benefit right now, especially with everyone owning a computer, smartphone, smartwatches, even. Um, all these devices do have built-in accessibility features that many are not aware of. But also there are third-party, dedicated devices that I'll go into. And again, low, medium, or high tech. Just think of it as low, not having any electronics or batteries. Medium, having to use some AA alkaline batteries, and high tech, anything that connects to Wi-Fi, as far as being a computer device. Let's kind of skipped around. So some services that we have here is going to be underlined. So the device lending library, kind of like a library, you can go to borrow a book. You can come to us to borrow any of the devices that I'll share. And you can, again, take that with you in any setting that you'll normally be in, whether out and about, shopping, if you're at church, at an event, conventions, at a party. We want people to be able to actually use a device where they'll most likely, in the settings that they'll most likely need it. And that way they can better determine if it's for them or not. And then again, being a store, if or not being a store, sorry, if they aren't interested, no love lost. At least they tried it, and they didn't have to invest the money into it. But if they are interested in purchasing, being on an island, we are connected to some of our majority of the vendors, and we can connect you with them and trying to get a device to you in a most more expedient way. Um, the device demonstrations, we don't just let people have a device and not know how to use it. We want, again, them to be able to know how a device works. A lot of times families will get a device or see something online or see someone else use one and say, oh, this is great for, my family member. They get it. You have to read the manuals. You never know how to use it. You put it to the side, never touch it again. So we do an hour of demonstration to make sure everyone's comfortable with how to use it. And that way, again, when you are going to have it for about a month or so, within that time period, you can figure out whether it's for you or not. Um, Moving on, the AT Exchange, Assistive Technology Exchange. it's gonna be a donation service that we do. So any type of durable medical equipment, so walkers, wheelchairs, canes, even shower baths, shower chairs, grab bars and the like, people can donate to us if it's lightly used, and we'll clean it up, refurbish it, and give it away to people for free. So if you know anyone who's trying to get rid of their device, we have a lot of people who, again, it takes a while for them to get one, and by the time they get a wheelchair, they no longer need it, or unfortunate cases, they have passed away, and they have these brand new devices that they can't give back to the vendor. So they'll donate to us, and then they'll get a tax-free thank you letter, and we'll give it away to those who need it. I will say, for our lending library and free demonstrations, it's open to the public, so there's no qualifications to make sure you have a disability or any age cap off or such. It's open to the public. Professionals can borrow on behalf of anyone that they want, through Kiki and Kupuna. The AT exchange will be the only service that we do qualify some sort of documentation that does state your diagnosis of disability in order to receive one of the durable medical equipments. And then the consultations, again, just an hour free consultation. Some people have a new device that they're not sure how to use, or a new software update on their phone or computer, and they're having troubles, and maybe they just want a quick little update on what can benefit them. And I'll go into more detail with that later. And then the low interest finance program, that one there is a kind of a last ditch effort, because again, these devices are not covered by medical insurance. If there is something that you do really need, that's at least $1,000, all the way up to $30,000, we're partnered with American Savings Bank to help finance that through a low interest loan. Nothing I'll show you is going to be $30,000, but the higher end tends to be actually home modifications and vehicle modifications. So needing, a shower modification to make it more accessible, or even being able to drive after losing, function of your legs, we can adapt the vehicle. So there's hand controls, and that tends to be the more high ticket items there. Let's see. So kind of just going straight into it, I'll kind of go back and forth between, or maybe it might be easier to just stop sharing altogether. But the devices here for vision, everyone's familiar with regular magnifiers, which is in the bottom right-hand corner. The stronger magnification, the smaller the surface area. So people are reading letter by letter, trying to read a whole newspaper, their book, or whichever it may be. The whole day of reading letter by letter can be kind of frustrating. So we do have these digital magnifiers on the left. At the top right is a bigger monitor if needed, and you can place that map below it, and again, have it be magnified there. Let's see if you'll be able to see my screen. So I do have one here. Have a blurred background. Let's see if that's getting rid of that. Right, so this here is a digital magnifier. And let's see if it will not reflect this. So I do have a small text here, and if I were to place it underneath, that will blow it up much more, and I can zoom in further if needed, or change the color contrast. And again, something like this has a stand, or I can hold it out with a handle. And this is always good, because if you have the handle, if something's kind of higher up on the shelf, you can do a freeze frame, or if it's down low, especially for groceries and such, people tend to do a quick little freeze frame, and that way you can move it around and not worry about having shakiness or anything like that. Something like this does start at $1,000, I will say. People tend to use their phones. The problem, or the reason why we prefer not to, is going to be because, again, you're going to be holding a device for a whole day of reading. You get kind of shaky. It's harder, difficult to read if it's magnified and shaky, because every little movement is also magnified. And also for kind of we don't want you to be without a phone if you're, for a full day of reading and your battery dies, you're not able to communicate and then call, anyone for emergency reasons. And also just for, we see a lot of people who tend to use it in an office or a work setting, and other individuals might not know that they're using their phone as an assistive device, and you get kind of, offended seeing that you're on your phone. So there's other reasons why individuals may want to just use a third party device. Other things for vision, I'll just go straight into it. Has everyone, so raise a hand or you can nod. Have you been exposed to the smart glasses now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have smartphones, smart televisions. Now we have our smart glasses. This is called Meta, and Ray-Ban makes these frames here. Let me make sure they're on. And I will try and connect the microphone here to see if you will be able to hear that. Also speaking. One moment.
Not coming through, Jason. Nope.
Testing, testing.
Now you're there.
Oh, okay, shucks. So it might be better without this microphone here because it's not looking, looks like it's not going through. But the voice command would normally be a look and read or look and describe. So if I had a document in front of me, if I said look and read, it will start reading everything for me with text to speech. I don't have to worry about my vision. I can put it away and it'll start reading to me. There are speakers within the frame. And look and describe tends to be for those with macular degeneration or those who are, legally blind. And that way you can look at your countertop and say, look and describe, and it will start describing everything in front of you. Even like say like to the left of you, there's an alarm clock, there's a keyboard here. So it's pretty cool. We have a lot of people who use it to kind of find the staircases or exits. That tends to help quite a bit. There are cameras at each end of these frames. We've had a lot of people connected to an app called Be My Eyes, and that will video call a volunteer somewhere in the United States. There's about 3 million in the world. And that will be a video call so they can see what you're looking at, and it will actually, they'll stay on and read anything to you or tell you, or if you ask them, what aisle I'm in and such, they'll stay on and kind of help direct you as needed. So we've had a lot of individuals use these smart glasses for that. Okay. And again, yes, these are items that you can borrow from us or just be demonstrated. A lot of people just want to see it up close as well. Okay. For the kind of recreational daily living devices, again, recreationally, we have just something fun. So playing cards, nice big fonts. And again, if you have a hard time holding small items, if you have arthritis in your fingers, you can use these place card holders. And again, you can go to Vegas and gamble away if you want, or you can have your poker night still. For eating, I will say for sanitation reasons, we don't let people borrow these, but just for demonstration, I have a plate with these beans in here. If you know anyone with Parkinson's or tremors, you do have this here, of course, food, but I have a adapted device here that uses a gyroscope that will auto balance. So it will spin around for me. And if I were to do that same tremor, a shake, I can do that and not spill my food.
Mm.
Yeah. Again, if it's too extreme, your tremor, like it probably won't work for you. But again, this is why we let people kind of see, touch, hold, and they can kind of determine for themselves. They used to have a electronic version of this as well, but now it's just mechanical. This is a steady spoon. So if you know anyone who bends at an awkward angle, or we have a lot of stroke victims actually use this as well. So if I were to scoop up and if I were to bend, it would counterbalance and I can spin without spilling my food.
Hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be stuck in one direction as well. I will say, I kind of mentioned the glasses to be able to read for you. In the past, anything that would be able to read for you starts at around $2,000. It's very expensive. So this here is an Orcan device. It's a point and click, and there's a camera here. So if I were to point and click, if I'm looking at a menu far away, if I'm at a museum and I'm trying to read small print or an event, I can shoot and click and it will read out to me what's in front of me. So this is $2,000, but the glasses are $300. So very big difference in price point. And again, if you still want to use prescription glasses with these, you can change that out and have your medical insurance reimburse you as well. Right, so that's for vision. Let's see, I know I have 30 minutes, about 14 more. So for hearing, yeah, we have quite a bit of stuff around me, no worries. For hearing, we have a hearing amplifier. This is a company called Pocket Talker. And this is an alternative to the hearing aids. So we're hearing a lot of people say that hearing aids are $6,000 plus and not covered by medical insurance. Either it's uncomfortable or changing the batteries are very difficult because it's so small. This one here takes AAA batteries, $200, and it's just a microphone and headset. So you can drown out background noise if you're at a busy event or a party. You can use it to help listen to the television, so it's not so loud. And again, you can either hold it or holster it onto your lapel and such. So that's fairly popular for a lot of individuals. You can use your smartphones now if I know for Apple, they have those Apple AirPods. So it has to be those specific AirPods. And then you can use your phone's microphone as an amplifier as well. So that's an alternative because again, $1,000 phone, you already have all these features as well if you need it. Let's see here. This here is a bed shaker. I'm not sure if anyone's ever been exposed to that. And this is a alarm clock. I won't make it loud just so I don't shock everyone. But the bed shaker I'll turn on. So we've had people who are hard of hearing or deaf use this. We've had a lot of couples come in and say, I usually wake up my husband with the elbow in order for him to wake up, but he'll be going to the mainland. I won't be there. We're worried that he won't wake up in time. So with this here, we can set the alarm, and then let's just make sure that this goes off. One moment. Okay, so it's kind of going crazy on my desk, but now it's vibrating here. And you can place it underneath your pillow in between your bed, and it will start vibrating to wake you up. A lot of people ask about their phone's vibration, but apparently it's not strong enough for a lot of deep sleepers. So that bed shaker is a great alternative for that as well. I'm going to share my screen once more. Let's see, specific AirPods, and then you can use your phone's microphone as an amplifier as well. So that's an alternative because again, $1,000 phone, you already have all these features as well if you need it. Let's see here. This here is a bed shaker. I'm not sure if anyone's ever been exposed to that. And this is a alarm clock. I won't make it loud just so I don't shock everyone. but the bed shaker I'll turn on. So we've had people who are hard of hearing or deaf use this. We've had a lot of couples come in and say, I usually wake up my husband with the elbow to in order for him to wake up, but he'll be going to the mainland. I won't be there. Um, we're worried that he won't wake up in time. So with this here, uh, we can set the alarm, and then let's just make sure that this goes off. One moment. Okay. Okay. So it's kind of going crazy on my desk, but now it's vibrating here. And you can place it underneath your pillow in between your bed, and it will start vibrating to wake you up. A lot of people ask about their phone's vibration, but apparently it's not strong enough for a lot of deep sleepers. Um, so that bed shaker is a great alternative for that as well. I'm going to share my screen once more. Let's see. I did want to show, again, Apple, Android, all these different tech companies do have their own websites. But if you were to scroll all the way down on their website, there is usually on this footnotes here, area for accessibility. And down here, you can kind of go in and get a little synopsis of what is available. So you have built-in magnifiers. Again, from my computer here, I can zoom in. Live Listen is great for those who are deaf or sign language users, and it will caption out what's being said on your phone or your computer. The AirPods, again, it will warn you, again, if your AirPods are too loud. So again, it will show you the decibels, and it will kind of flash red if it's too loud. That's going to be damaging your ears. Or again, you can use that for hearing amplifiers as well. And these are pretty more intensive, but for those with mobility issues, if you can't traditionally touch, type, swipe, there is eye tracking now. So it follows the pupils of your eyes, and you can control your device solely on that. And those are like $20,000 devices. And again, now it's just built into all of your devices that you already have. I tried turning some of these on. I think the Zoom screen capture doesn't allow for it, but again, it is divvied up here. This is on my computer. I'll try one more time with this live captions. Let's see. Hopefully. So if I start talking here, okay, great. So again, this is live captions, and it will start captioning out everything that's being said. I will say if you have multiple speakers at the same time, it won't say if it's Gary speaking or Jason speaking, but again, it's just something to help read along. I know everyone's kind of interested in translating. Unfortunately, it does not translate right now. And yeah, so much more. So again, I'll leave the rest of the time open for questions. See if there's anything quickly that I missed here. So these are the bed shakers, the apps, and the built-in accessibility. And I'll share this slideshows again with Gary and Leanne here. But if you want to schedule a time, we do suggest to schedule a meeting, just because again we do service the whole state, and so I'm often out seeing clients. If they can't come to us, we'll happily go to them at their home or at a cafe, library, wherever they're again most comfortable.
This is really interesting. There are so many different devices. We've here at the Caregiver Foundation, we've had a number of clients who are either completely deaf or mostly deaf, and those glasses they have the glasses where the conversations become text on the glasses. They
Correct.
put them
Yes.
on,
Yeah.
and they're just seeing the captions, so they can follow the conversation through the captions.
I've heard of one. I believe it's called Xander, Zander, and that has a microphone in the middle of the frames, and that will transcribe live in your, and the person in front of you won't see any text
Yeah.
coming up. I believe. Yeah.
So that's made a big difference to a lot of those folks. But it's just remarkable to me how many different things are available. Are you finding items that are used in other countries? I bring that up because my wife and I go back to Japan quite a bit, and the number of devices and assistive technologies that they have there, it's pretty interesting. Uh, we
Yeah,
don't seem to
definitely.
have all of them
This is-
here.
Mhm. Yeah, so the vendors, it's very difficult being, on an island and such, but they tend to connect with us to see if there's any devices that they can kind of share. And because we're not a store, we're not trying to, again, we're not trying to sell on their behalf, so they get to save money that way. But so a lot of times they'll kind of leave devices here,
Mhm.
if not for a short period of time, uh, indefinitely, and we can put it into our lending library. I would say even the glasses we've had a vendor drop them off and leave it with us. Yeah, so it
Mm.
just depends. Yeah.
Well, before I let everybody else ask questions, let me ask you, looking toward the future, what's the device that you would like to see made available to people? What's one particular
For-
device you wish was out there?
You know, a lot of devices are already there. It's just, again, just being exposed to it and then knowing what it is. So there's not like a lot of it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, really. Those, it depends on the individual to stay away or not. I do like the dedicated devices because their engineers are just so focused and they know how to make it all. So I can't really say what I'd like to see because I feel like they're all there already and everyone's kind of just fighting over the same
Hmm.
space. It's just getting
Oh,
everyone
interesting.
aware. Yeah.
Well, does anybody on the call have a device wish or question about devices that Jason can help us with? If you unmute yourself, you can either put it in the chat or you can raise your hand and join in the conversation.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'll read a question from the chat. The question is, can both tenants and property owners apply for home modification? I think that's for the low interest loan.
For the low interest, yes. So anyone who's interested can apply for it, really. So that's going to be with Jodi Asato in our last slide. So she runs that program, and anything that, again, for home modifications, vehicle modifications, anyone can apply for. It is, again, kind of a last effort to get to finance these devices or modifications. I will say, um, it's still a regular loan, so you do still have to go through a background check to make sure that you are, earning enough within the month to be able to pay back the loan as well. Yeah.
Okay, and then maybe we were talking about this before we started recording, but you were talking about the library, but also you have some devices that can be given to the people who need it. So can you speak about that a little bit?
Yeah. So again, for anyone who's interested, they can come to our office. They can borrow it on our website. You can click on a link called Lending Library, and you can actually see all the devices listed, whether or not someone is borrowing it at the time. If they are, you can be waitlisted. No problem with that. And again, to be just demonstrated the device, we've had people who say, "Oh, I've heard of the smart glasses," or the video magnifiers. I'm not sure if it's for me right now, but I still just want to just see how it works. And because we're not a store, we're not biased towards anyone, especially with the video magnifiers. I kind of show the whole suite of devices because, again, even though I think, oh, this is great, and everyone should use this one. It tends to be the case that, for certain people, they need a specific device that, for whatever reason, another company was better for them. So feel free to try multiple devices within a year. You don't have to, just try it once and make a decision, try the other ones. And that way, again, you're not investing the $1,000 before you get, hard, make a hard decision on that.
Mm-hmm. So if someone is renovating their house and they need to come up with some grab bars or some ramps or things that maybe they're falling short on funds to go out and just purchase it, sometimes you have that kind of equipment that you can let them have, if I
So I
understand
would
correctly.
say for the grab bars, it would be for a reuse program, not for a library, just in case, again, for grab bars, we do recommend it not being the stick-on grab bars, because if you're going to fall, if it's the suction cups, you're going to fall along with it still. You do want to get the grab bars that you can find a stud within the wall and, nail that in and hammer it in. So I will say for those specific modifications, you would want to still try out for a specialist. So a contractor who specializes in those home modifications and get a quote from them. We don't specialize in doing those type of modifications. For vehicles, we go through Solder Home. And then for home modifications, again, a contractor that is certified in aging in place and such would be great.
Okay, I just have one quick question on the lending library, and then there's a question in the chat. So to borrow a device, how long can it be borrowed for?
Great question. So you get to have it for a month. And then if you need an extension, we happily give, a month or so extensions. Within, I would say 2 months, people kind of know whether or not, it's for me, or again, I'm not interested at all. But we just ask that you just contact us to ask for an extension. And if there's no big wait list, that tends to be the hearing amplifier and iPads. We let people borrow iPads with software on it. But for the most part, everything tends to kind of be in, cycle very well.
Okay. And so the question in the chat, this caregiver this caregiver's father had a stroke. And so he developed a lift to lift him vertically in a hammock in a horizontal position. And so asking, would there be any interest in this design?
For lifts, we kind of stay away from lifts for right now. Again, there's a need for it always. I was telling Gary earlier that, hospital beds are a big ask as well. A lot of people try to donate to us. The biggest problem is storage, especially for those big type of devices. So even lifts, it's hard to store them. But I would always check with FEMA is usually great for that. Because again, once you have the device, the vendors won't usually take it back once you purchase it. So those are other avenues that are kind of difficult too.
I think you may have been interested in finding somebody that would perhaps like to take the design and move it forward into more of a production type of situation. That's if you send me an email, I can send you a couple of places that might be interested in that design. So who knows? You may have the next wonderful device that will help people.
Yeah.
Yeah. To our caregivers, please put your questions in the chat because I can always think of more questions. But so if I have a sudden disability, like I fell and I can't see, I have trouble focusing. So at the time, well, let me put it to you this way. If maybe we don't know what we need, but it's just, okay, I'm having difficulty doing this. Could we call the ATRC and kind of talk it over with you? And then you could, kind of think about, okay, maybe this device would be helpful, or, have you tried this? Or do you offer those kind of, I guess, counseling if the person doesn't know what they need?
No, definitely. We don't expect anyone to be readily aware of what's available or what would kind of help the situation. So feel free to just call. There's, again, no charge, just to call, and just let us know what specific problems they're having, and we can work from there. We don't have to go through everything, from daily living to eating aids and all this different stuff. But what's the main problem that they're having? So for one person, it was just being able to read a newspaper, and they're not worried about right now going to like out and about to read a menu at a restaurant. It's just the newspaper, and we can focus on that. Again, we're linked to other resources that we, if we don't have the answer to, that we can link up to and see what they've used in the past. We are in the Aloha United Way building, and Aloha United Way does have a hotline, a 211 hotline, kind of like if you call 911. So if you call 211 and ask them their problems of what issues they're going through, they'll also have their suite of resources. So that's if I don't know anything, I'll kind of defer to them as well. But us being an AT program nationwide, we can call California or Pennsylvania and say, oh, we have this. It happens quite a bit. We have this individual with this special disease and degenerative disease, and what helped them in this situation, and we can link that way as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then I have a question about how ATRC works statewide to neighbor islands. And I know you gave the name of the person, the staff person who deals with neighbor islands. But as far as, okay, so does each island have an office with devices to lend out, or do you mail it from Oahu, or how does that logistical?
Great question. So we mail it usually. If people do need face-to-face demonstrations, Jen will fly to them. Or if they want, we can do kind of Zoom meetings as well. Tends to be that they want face-to-face. So in the past, Jen has flown to Kauai, show them how to use it, then they keep it for a month or so, and they'll mail it back to our Oahu office when ready. It's hard. We try to have a satellite kit on every island. It's just kind of having logistically the office space for it, and having other staff be aware how it works. Tends not to help too much, but right now we're in the works of partnering with the local libraries, because again, they're everywhere. So we're trying to get a grant to get just a basic kit. So the digital magnifier and iPad with the built-in accessibilities and the hearing amplifier, and that way they can go in and borrow that with just their library card. Yeah.
That's a great collaboration.
Yeah.
That's totally awesome. Yeah. So last questions, if you want to raise your hand or put it in the chat for Julian. And also, to inform Julian and all of our caregivers that in future e-newsletters will spotlight ATRC with your contact information, a link to the video that'll be posted on a YouTube. And I don't know for Gary, but this is certainly the first time I've known in depth about what you have to offer. So I wouldn't mind, spotlighting ATRC.
That'd be great.
Having you back as a guest speaker. So Miss Nicole has a question. Yes. So can you unmute your mic, please?
Nicole, can you click on your microphone so we can hear you?
Yeah, you have to unmute or type it into the chat. Well, while she's figuring out the technical, the tech on the Zoom call, can I tell you about my dream assistive device?
Sure.
Yes.
And I know it's a few years down the road, but what I would love is to be able to throw the wash into the washing machine, and then somehow it would get washed and dried and folded. So I've seen on some TV shows that there are some devices, but it just takes a long time because you have to bring out each shirt and then fold and so forth. But do you know how long and how far into the future something like that will come around?
Yeah. No, great question. Robotics is a
Yeah.
big topic. Tesla's trying to create their robot. Um, I would still say it's something like that. Still about 10 years in the making, to be honest. Um, it doesn't have to be an actual humanoid robot. It can just be something simple like a robotic arm. Um, I would say just having the space, so having it be built into for the washer or something adapted to the side of it. Um, that's just going to be a tricky engineering. Yeah,
Mhm.
because everyone's washer is different. Some still use old style, which is kind of the better ones, right? If you have the smart washers, I don't. Those tend to go, kind of break down very quickly in comparison. Um, so yeah, it's a tricky one. Yeah, you do have robotic arms for like what do you call for feeding, self feeding. Those tend to be about. It starts at like $15,000, and again, it's a robotic arm that will scoop up and feed you. But to do intricate things like folding clothes, you would think so because of the car industry, right? Everything's built by robotic arms, but yeah, not just yet.
And how about driverless cars? That would kind of be the ultimate assistive device, huh?
Here and now, actually. So we had an intern come back from California, and she called an Uber driver, and there was no driver in the seat. It was just yeah. But yeah, it was empty, and it drove them, blocks away. I think more than half an hour away from where they were. So the computer vision and knowing, the lanes that they're in, if it's a pedestrian, if it's a biker, it's getting much stronger. I would say, unfortunately, it's harder for Hawaii because it's not consistent with the painting of the roads and such. So that can be kind of difficult with lane drifting. But it is here. It's just not on Oahu. It's not in Hawaii yet.
Yeah. All right. So we have any more questions in the chat? Gary, do you have any questions? Want to wrap up?
It's really interesting to me, things like that spoon that you showed us, the self-leveling spoon. That's such a simple idea, but it would make a huge difference to someone trying to maintain independence in feeding themselves if they had some kind of a tremor issue. That would make just a tremendous difference to people. So I'm wondering how do you get the word out to, say, the Parkinson's Association or multiple sclerosis organizations? Do they actively get that information out to people and make them
Um,
aware of those tools?
yeah, it's a great question. So it depends on the individual um, organizations. I would say Parkinson's, uh, they've been very, very supportive, Parkinson's Association. So we go to all of their support groups. And again, if anyone has any support group, whether it be a church or, certain groups, we will happily go out to them as little as 2 or 3 people to upwards of 30 plus is fine. And it's always interesting because turnover rates and such, we're always seeing new faces at all these different organizations. So as long as they're willing to have us, we go multiple times in a year. And again, it's no big problem. Yeah. So we do great outreach. Yeah.
So we can refer you again and again and again.
Yes.
Okay. That's good to know. We do get a lot of inquiry on how can I get help with this or that or something. So this is really good information. Yeah. What device do you think is the most understood but least used in the disability community? And I include aging in that because at some point aging becomes a disability.
Mhm. Sorry, can you describe that most used but
Sure.
least?
Yeah, something that people, for instance, a walker.
Mhm.
Everybody knows what a walker is. But
Yeah.
something like that where people know what it is, but they're not using it.
Oh, all of it. Yeah.
All of
Tends to
it.
be
Okay.
the walkers. Yeah. Again, we do have to be sensitive because a lot of individuals, they're for whatever reason, again, constitute shame to using certain devices. I would say, especially if it singles them out. Um, there are individuals who, again, they'll go throughout their day and kind of, again, outwardly seem like fully functional, but they're struggling trying to read, they're struggling trying to remember, and people are being rude to them. And, it came to a point where I had an ophthalmologist who lost his vision, uh, having to wear a lanyard stating, I am low vision, legally blind, please be patient with me. And for him, it was a big, uh, hit blow to his pride in having to just label him and distinct himself from everyone. And but yeah, that tends to be the case with devices. I find too is that people are always say, "I'm not there yet." Us being a nonprofit, we hear a lot of people say, I don't want to take services from someone else who needs it when they're the ones who needs it. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a dynamic there. We tend to look at ourselves, but we also look at others who maybe are using assistive devices, and we think differently about them. I always beat up on my dad. He's not a stable person. If he tries to walk, he tips. But we just had this conversation last week. He absolutely refuses to use a walker.
Oh my gosh.
He just will not do it. He said, "Don't even talk to me anymore about it." And he knows he's going to fall down and get hurt, but he's willing and prefers that to using a walker. I'm not sure how you overcome that kind of resistance. Do you have any tips you have come across to get people to at least consider it?
It's very difficult. um, no, unfortunately not. The biggest thing with me on a one-on-one is that I I try I for me, because it's not it's hard when it's your family member, a parent and such, especially a parent dynamic. But I try not to pander too much in saying, oh, the next year, 2 years from now, there's this device that's just gonna solve all your problems. Which is, again, we've had people who said that, like, oh, the engineers they're creating this and that, and it's gonna be solve all my problems. Elon Musk is gonna put a computer chip in my head, and everything will be fine. But just you need something right now that can benefit you. A lot of people don't want to use the reading devices because they want to use what vision they have left. But really, macular degeneration, especially, like they're at that point where it's safer for you to having to be able to have something, notify or alert you, what's in front of you and read to you. Because again, you're relying on someone else and having that independence, they find later on, once you kind of go through that hurdle, they wonder why they prevented themselves from not doing it at all.
Mhm.
So sometimes it just takes another individual to tell them as well. We've had that. But when it's your personal family member, it's very difficult.
Mhm. We have a question about the usability of an Android cell phone. And I wear one of these smart watches. It's not an Android device, but it's amazing the things that it does that I don't even know it knows how to do, but it will suddenly turn on and tell me something. But how about the Android devices and somebody getting help on understanding um, the ways that that type of phone can be an assistive device?
Yeah. So the good and bad thing about Apple is that it's all, proprietary, all inclusive, or not inclusive, but kind of exclusive actually. Android can be tricky because every phone is going to be different. They're not always going to be used the same way. But I will say that all these other companies, Windows, Android, can do the same capabilities that I've showed here. It's just kind of finding the different names for it and figuring it out. So I just tell people bring in the phone that you do have or tablet that you are using, and we'll figure it out. Go along the process with you because it's just not consistent the whole way through. So please be patient with us as we figure it out with you. Yeah, because it does do all these features. It's just different names and such.
So could someone bring their phone in and get some ideas from you on, well, this phone seems to have this kind of capacity, and let me just take a look and see if you could help them figure that out?
Yeah, we highly recommend it. So again, in the phone call, just let us know what problems you're having, give us an idea beforehand, and then bring the device with you, and I can go along with it. We actually recommend people bringing, the devices or even, books that they're going to be reading or whatever it is that they're kind of having problems with. Bring that scenario as much as you can to the office, and then try to see if it will actually resolve the issues.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, great question.
I can think of several people already that the glasses would make a big difference to. They're losing their sight, and uh, their world gets very, very small if they don't have any other way to deal with it.
Yes.
Those glasses could be remarkable. Uh, Emmy, what have you seen in some of your uh, consulting clients with assistive devices, and how you work with them in getting those?
Hi. Well, I'm not sure exactly trying to get them like we talked about earlier, your father and the walker. I know for my father, he was using a cane. And what he really liked was something nice and practical, and he wanted a walker with a basket. He
Hmm.
wanted, and so for some women like my mom, and this was like a long time ago, like over 10, 15 years ago. She'd gone to Japan and found a really cute, small, pretty walker back then. They were only making it in Japan. And
Mhm.
she brought it back. And she didn't mind using it, because it doesn't look, again, the reason for many elders. And my mom would say that I'm not like your people, your elders. She doesn't consider herself. She's very snotty, her nose up in the air. She doesn't see herself like that. And I think that's true for many of us. We want to see ourselves as being very strong and, a walker is a sign of weakness to them.
Mhm.
So, what can we do to make it more acceptable to them? You have to figure out, and it's very individual. Like my father wanted something practical. He wanted it where he had a basket and he would take it shopping. And he lived alone till he was 100. And he went shopping. He would go to Don Quixote and with the walker and put things in his little basket,
Mm.
and walk home. That was what he wanted. And he lived in Japan for many years, and I think that's what he was accustomed to. Because in Japan, everything is accessible,
Mhm.
where and people use those things. So having to deal with an elder person, and even though they know, again, it is to me a self-image. If, like for me, you told me when I was using my cane, I like my pretty cane that I got in Japan. And you said, well, it's better if you had a stopper on the bottom that had the prongs on it. But to me, that one, that's okay. I can use it for now. But, maybe I might go to an technology store and kind of twist it off and see if they can put a different, stopper on the bottom so that it has the little legs. But I
Mhm.
still have my pretty cane.
Mm.
Again, having that persona because you are very much aware in public of what people are, the looks you get, you know. And sometimes I like that. Oh, I'm handicapped. I get privileges. So, it's all in the way you look at it. And my mother, before, she didn't want to be pushed in a wheelchair. But then my older sister insisted, especially taking her on trips to Vegas. She loved to go to Vegas. She had a heart condition, and it was a long walk from check-in to the gate.
Mhm.
So we finally convinced her to, um, use the wheelchair that airline offers. And she didn't realize, oh, wow, it feels good. But the
Mm.
other thing that my sister did, and I don't think people realize, is the dignity of that person in the wheelchair. So the porter pushes her. Before then, my sister would always slip her like a dollar bill or something. And so when she got to the um, gate and she could sit in a chair, the porter would take the wheelchair away. She could stand up and she would tip the porter.
Mm.
That for her was important. Again,
Yeah.
it's something simple and people take for granted. But I tell this story because in one of my groups, a lady from the mainland who just moved there, she goes, oh, that's why my mother looked like that because she had her mother come with her. And her husband, of course, the man in charge, wanted to take care of everything. He tips the porter and everything. And her mother had this look on the face like, oh, I wanted to do that kind of.
Mm.
She said, now I understand what my mother's look was about.
Oh,
So
thank you. I mean,
again,
that is
yeah,
important.
yes.
Kind of-
So again, you don't realize you really need to put yourself in the place of the elder person. And
Yeah.
maybe for your father, it is more important for him to be standing, on his own without
Yep.
any assistance until the inevitable will happen. And maybe you have to respect his choice if it comes down
Oh,
to that.
absolutely. That's one
Yeah,
thing that is, you talk about individual dignity. People do have the right to
yeah.
decide I will
And
use it
they,
or I
and
won't
they,
use it.
and my
And
dad
that just is part of
fallen
it.
so many times with his walker, but
Yeah.
and strangers help him, and you know he
Mm.
he keeps going.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
good.
it is, the assisted
Yeah.
device does set you apart.
Well,
But I
Jason,
like,
one of the things that I like to remind people about is that these devices are not devices, assistive devices as much as they are independence devices. They allow you to do more on your
right,
own for longer.
but
So
you can,
that's
yeah, positive spin on
I
it.
raise my banner often on that particular issue. I won't say
But
it's appreciated all that much, but it maybe helps people think a little
Yeah,
bit differently.
and I think people recognize like someone with a cane, like when I use my daughter says, bring your cane, because then they'll be more lenient about you walking so slow, you
Yeah,
know?
maybe. Well,
Yeah,
we're
and so
just up against
they
the
will
hour.
respect that, you know, because they can see it. So
Yeah.
somebody with a visual impairment is easier to recognize, and people try to accommodate that. Here,
Hmm.
not so much because you can't tell the person can hear you and you're talking to them, and
Hmm.
they think, wow, he's ignoring me or he's being, impolite or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
It
thank you,
is,
Emmy. I appreciate
yeah.
all of that. And
I can keep going. Sorry.
yeah, I know, but we don't have the option of going further. But Jason and Ashley, thank you so much for joining with us today and sharing all that information. And I hope everyone will take advantage and look at the website, find out what kind of devices might help someone in your circle, and of course, join with us again next month on the third Tuesday. Leanne, you'll have to help me with the date on that. I don't know what the third Tuesday is next month.
Oops, I didn't look it up. Third Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, just look it up. And we'll be sending out our newsletter with reminders, of course, and hope that you'll join us. And in between times, if something comes up that you need help with, give us a call or send an email over to the Caregiver Foundation. And if we don't know a way to help you immediately, we will know who to refer you to. So don't ever hesitate to call us with whatever need you have, and we'll do our best to find you the right resources to help meet those needs. And one of the best resources is the Assistive Technology Resource Center.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for having me. Yeah, this is great. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Okay.
see you all again next month.